Listening and hearing, the difference that we are going to see in this video. Hearing is just normal, that happens, which is not in your control. Majority of the time I have seen that most of the students, they are simply hearing what's going on in the class. It is because their body is simply present over there and their mind is busy somewhere else. It may be the mobile game, it may be somewhere else on the ground, or it may be if they are hungry, there is something that their mind is around the tiffin. So what is proper hearing or listening for all the students and all the people, those who are listening to this? Listening is very much important. It is because listening is nothing but you pay attention to what you hear, whereas hearing is just happening without any consideration. It is just happening normally 24/7. Even if you are sleeping, you keep on hearing the sounds, whereas listening is something different that requires a lot of efforts, and it's a big skill that will definitely enhance your knowledge, your skills, if you have the habit of listening the things that are happening around you. So what is the big difference between these two terms? Technically we will see in this video. Number one, hearing is just receiving the sound through your ears. Whatever comes to your eardrum, you just hear without even understanding what it is. That is hearing. Whereas listening is hearing a sound and understanding it. Listening a sound and understanding is, that means you give your 100% concentration over there. So in classroom or whenever you are listening to any knowledgeable session or lecture, you have to listen and you are not supposed to hear whatever is happening around you. For example, if you are sleeping, if the dog is barking out there, obviously that sound is there, but it is not noticed somewhere in your brain. Whereas in listening, you pay 100% attention and you try to analyze what exactly the noise is all about. Is it a dog? Is it the dog is barking because of some vehicle, or is there any fight between two dogs, or is there any other reason? Even the way the dog barks outside and the kind of sound that you listen, that also tells you if the dog is having any problem. Even there are so many people, by just listening to the firing sound of their bike and their car, they understand where exactly the problem is. Even your doctor also listens to your heartbeats, and accordingly he diagnoses where is the problem. And that's why listening is very much important. It's a life skill. Second difference is that hearing just happens all the times, 24/7. As I said earlier, it happens whether you want it or you don't want it. It happens. For example, during Diwali, there are so many stupid people. After 10 p.m. also they keep on bursting firecrackers. So even if you are sleeping, you just come to your senses that what happened because of that particular sound. It happens 24/7. Hearing, that is not at all in your control. Whether you like it or you don't like it, the sound is going to come to your ear. Even if you have put some kind of maybe cotton buds in your ear so that you shouldn't listen or hear any sound, but it happens 24/7. That is not at all in our control. Whereas listening requires concentration. For example, when someone, your colleague or your classmate, is whispering something, you hear the sound of whispering, and now you want to know what exactly the person is saying. Is he simply gossiping about you or someone else? Is there any spicy news? And you want to know about it, and then you listen with concentration. So that is listening. Whereas hearing just the whispering sound that is coming to your eardrums and you are not paying attention to. But when you start paying attention, that hearing changes into listening. So that's the difference. That's the difference. Hearing simply happens. As I said, it is automatic. It happens. It is not at all in your control. Whereas listening leads to learning. So what you need to concentrate on? You need to concentrate on listening, because listening leads to learning, whereas hearing does not lead anywhere. You just tend to forget the things immediately. You hear it, the next moment you forget it because you didn't pay attention to. And that's why as a student, all of you should pay attention to what is going on in the class, what is going on in the practical lab, or what is going on in the language lab, or whatever I am just interacting with you. You need to pay attention to. That means you must listen to what is going on. And majority of the time all the speakers just say listen to what I say, they never say hear to what I say. Hear means casual, no importance is given. So hearing, you use your ears, whereas in listening, you use your eyes, you use your ears, you use your brain. All your senses are active when you are listening, and that's why whatever you listen, if you really listen with 100% concentration, whatever practical your teacher assigns you orally, if you listen to it carefully, you perform it properly or correctly. Otherwise, if you simply miss something, that means you hear something, you are bound to commit errors in that particular practical. So please listen very carefully. Hearing is involuntary. Involuntary means it happens. There is no one who can stop it. Whereas listening is voluntary. Your brain processes it. Whatever sound falls, you can identify and decipher it only when your brain processes it by applying some knowledge to it. If a lion roars, by that quality of sound you understand, by the quality of the siren you understand if it is of ambulance or if it is of a police van, by the quality of that particular and the way the sound is there, the sound is blowing, you understand if it is that garbage truck or it is something else. When I was a kid, whenever that kulfi wala he used to come, he had one particular bell, and because of that particular sound we used to understand that now it's not something else but it's a kulfi wala, and then we used to run if we had some coins in our pocket. So hearing is involuntary, whereas listening is voluntary. You need to put in efforts. The next difference is that hearing is just a physical process. If you have eardrums and ears and they are functioning, you are bound to hear. Whereas listening is psychological process. Psychological process means what? Concentration is required. You need to pay attention. Body is present and mind is absent, you are not going to get anything whatever is happening. And majority of the time, majority of the lectures and the training, they take place orally. And that's why you have to listen very carefully, and it is not at all easy, by the way. Even I too, though I am guiding you guys, whenever I go to any training sessions, it is really difficult for me to concentrate, because as a teacher it's a habit of speaking and keep on talking, whereas when I go for the training programs to anywhere, I have to concentrate, and it is very hard, it is tough. And I can empathize with all the students that what kind of tough job that you are doing, just sitting idly over there and listening to the lectures from 9 to 5 p.m. That's really horrible, but we can't help. Fine. Hearing is subconscious level, you're not 100% conscious. Something is there. Acha, the noise is there, the lorry is going out, somebody is honking, it is there, but I'm not paying attention. But if the honking is continuously there, then I get irritated, and then I pay attention why the person is honking. Maybe the person may be calling me because he is at some distance. So I listen. When I listen, I go to in that particular direction, and then I understand what is it. Then I understand what is it. So listening leads to concentration, or concentration leads to listening. Whereas hearing, you are some cautious. Listening, you are cautious. Hearing is just a passive bodily process. Passive. You don't give any thought to it. You don't move. You don't pay attention. You don't analyze. You don't process the sound. You don't understand the meaning. So it is just a passive bodily process. Whereas listening is active mental process. Active mental process means you listen with concentration. You understand. You analyze, and then you respond. And then you respond. That's why it's a mental, cautious, active process. Hearing, we are neither aware nor we have any control over the sounds we hear. You cannot say, okay, I don't want to hear the sound of the lorry that is passing by. I don't want to listen the sound that is created by the students of next class. You can't decide it. You can't decide it. Whereas listening, you can. For example, if the teacher is taking your attendance, then the person is saying 1 2 3 4 and your roll number is 13, so you are simply waiting, your mind is simply waiting to listen to that roll number 13, and then you are bound to say yes sir. If the speaker is talking about the people who have passed with excellent mark in semester 1, you will simply wait for your name to be announced, that particular sound of your name. Rest of the things you will simply hear, rest of the names you will simply hear, whereas you will 100% concentrate over the sound of your name. Yes, Fahad Khan. All right. So I also passed with flying colors in semester 1. You concentrate on that one particular sound. Here is just primary. छोटे बच्चे से लेके the बूढ़े तक, those who can hear, it's primary. Whereas listening is not primary. It's a temporary phenomenon. Temporary means for the time being you concentrate. Maybe for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 3 minutes you concentrate, and then you lose the track and listening changes into hearing. Whereas when the teacher says, okay, tell me what I said, then again your senses are alert, and then you listen to what other students are answering, and then you understand, okay, this is what the question the teacher has asked, let me also frame my answer, and then your mind starts processing it. So when your mind starts processing and starts responding to the sound, that is listening. When your mind is simply passive listening and enjoying the session, just being there and just busy or engrossed in your thoughts, that's hearing, which is not at all good for you or for anyone, including me. So hearing is an inborn ability. Inborn. Those who are born with hearing ability, obviously they will keep on hearing till their ability is intact. Because of some loud noise, if your eardrums are torn and you become deaf, forget about listening and forget about hearing. Whereas hearing is a skill to be learned. Every individual should learn the listening skill. It is because if you really want to increase your knowledge quotient, your skill quotient, then you need to know listening. So how to develop good listening habits, that will also be dealt in next video. But first of all, we must understand what is the difference between hearing and listening, and how hearing is really dangerous for all of us, and listening is the blessing if you can develop it. Majority of the fights can be avoided if you simply listen and don't react. That is the secret. That is the importance of listening. I think in previous video I have already talked about the importance of listening. Go and have a look at it. So this is what the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing will lead to no success, whereas listening will definitely lead to success. Hearing will lead to zero knowledge, listening will lead to 100% knowledge. Listening is going to enhance your personality as a knowledgeable and skilled and learned person, whereas hearing will definitely lead to nowhere. It's the end of your career, it's the end of your personality, and that's why you all have to develop only the listening skill and not the hearing one. Hearing is obviously nature has given us, but we have to learn and polish further the listening skill. So how to develop good listening skills, I will discuss in next video. So stay tuned. Happy learning. Good luck.